Hi, good morning, Bala.
Good morning, Raj.
So we are here to pitch it differently this time, I guess.
Uh, I know the operative word
Yeah,
from what
I
you're
know.
saying. It's
So
about the
what's
preview for the fourth test in the India-England series. Fourth test, second test at Ahmedabad itself.
yes? So since we have not talked about batting and bowling, and we are only talking about the pitch, I thought let us pitch it differently because at the end of the day, you play on what you get,
Yeah.
and
The
it is
as we say in Tamil, batsman pitch vadarala.
that is the problem. So what's your take? I mean, we I think we'll just take a quick break and talk about the pitch itself. I mean, what do you think will be the pitch?
See, I do. I mean, I have not seen the pitch, but there was a specific. I mean, in the pre-match press conference, Ajinkya Rahane clearly said it's not going to be much different.
Yeah.
So you are basically set for the similar kind of surface. I'm not saying it is going to be the same pitch. You're going to get something similar, except the fact this is not going to be a pink ball because both the camps, both England, Jack Leach and as well as Ashwin and Akshar Patel, they kind of suggested that it was not just alone the pitch, the extra lacquer on the pink ball that kind of added extra skid to the deliveries. So that made it much more difficult to play than it would have been the case if they are playing with the standard red ball test match cricket.
Yes, yes.
So
So I
that's
mean,
one of those things that will be slightly different, Raj.
yeah. So I think they. I mean, they're not the only ones. I think I was watching Zach Crawley also say the same thing. They
Okay.
said that I mean there are two ways. I mean, the point was that between the second test at Chennai and the third test at Ahmedabad, the difference was the ball was coming on faster because of the lacquer. So a bit pitching and coming faster. So the adjustment they couldn't make. And obviously, I think it was only in the last innings that the Indian batsmen looked comfortable. Even the Indian batsmen looked comfortable. So I think that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But there was too much of moaning about the pitch. I mean, this is the word that this is the line that Richards used. Then start playing cricket. I mean, to be fair to the English cricketers who are in the squad, they didn't complain too much about. They said it was difficult, but they kind of understood that if you are to be a good team, you have to come up with all the goods in all kinds of conditions. So I
Exactly. See, the point here very simple. The point here is that I mean it is just a surface. Now, okay, there are. I mean, are you trying to tell me that you can actually doctor the pitch to a point where one team benefits, the other doesn't benefits? I'm not too sure. So at the end of the day, you had two spinners. I mean, the third one went home, and India had two or three
instantly
spinners.
back.
Oh, he's
Not in
back.
the. He's part of the one day team. He's
One day.
back in India. That's a strange
Yeah.
thing,
So
but he's not going to be part of the squad
yeah. So
for the test
if you
match.
have your vagaries like this, I mean, then you need to complain. So I think Rahane made a great point that look, when we go abroad and I mean sort of sometimes flounder against the moving ball, everybody questions our technique. So what's different here? So I think that makes sense. So we'll move on from there. I mean, what do you think will be the India 11, or let us go with the England 11, which is quite
Oh,
confusing.
confusing. See, if going by the suggestion, if it is going to be primarily a spin aiding pitch,
Hmm.
they should go with two seamers. I'm talking about England, and the
Hmm.
second seamer being Ben Stokes. They must get him to bowl because for 5 overs or at the maximum 10 overs is not going to cut it for England. They need just two bowlers, pace bowlers, just to operate the new ball. So either Archer or Anderson along with Stokes would be the my my 11 in my 11, and whether they like it or not, they have to play Dom Bess and they have to bolster their batting. Perhaps with Rory Burns or Lawrence, I would go with Lawrence. So my
Yeah.
change from the previous test would be drop two paces. Anderson, I mean Broad certainly yes. Archer or Anderson, one
Yeah.
of the two. Bring in Bess and bring in Lawrence or Burns. Lawrence is in my see because this is the kind of 11 they'll be forced into. I guess they have no other choice because they don't have any enough spinners. Dom Bess is not. I mean, if they are not going to play him on this surface, I think he can as well retire.
Yeah. So my point is simple. I mean, they need to bowl as many spinners as they can find in the team, in the
Exactly.
dugout or wherever they sit.
Exactly.
So yeah, so and then bolstering the batting, you're right, because one more batsman, hopefully one guy will click. So it's the see you are looking at a team which has some good players of spin. It's not as if they don't play spin well.
Obviously.
It is just that they were found wanting because they obviously didn't understand. I mean, just like us. I mean, even the Indian team didn't understand the fact that the lacquer on the pink ball actually sort of makes it skid. which is
You're
what
right.
we saw. So
And
Akshar Patel getting
Naziruddin
wickets.
keeps making this point about the Indian batsmen. This Indian team is not as good players of spin as the rest of the the previous Indian
Generation. Yes, yes,
generation of batsmen used to be. You have talked about it about us Indian players not playing domestic cricket, and that kind of hampers their ability to tackle spin. And it is certain somebody like Ajinkya Rahane is a good case in point. His record against spin bowling is nothing great. He's pretty good against pace bowling, and he's one of those failures of those batting lineup in this series. He's not even
correct.
his cumulative score is not even 100,
Yeah.
which
So,
is
which is where, I mean, so if you take, I mean, on the other side, you have a guy who actually, when he was bowling, the pitch looked like it is a bowler's paradise. When he was batting, it looked like it is a batsman paradise. We're talking
so
Ashwin here, right?
yeah.
So it's
And
weird.
same was with even Joe Root.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So now the Indian team, Umesh Yadav gets a chance.
I would still play Siraj Raj because Bumrah is out of the squad.
Hmm.
So see, if you are going to play India has to play two pace bowlers. We have never used, except for the first test, have we started with two pace bowlers at both ends? I think either Akshar or Ashwin gets to bowl, and both of them have had wicket of the first delivery of the innings twice.
Yeah, I know.
So that's strange. So whether India is going to go with two bowlers, two pace bowlers is a question open for debate. If at all they are going to go with two pace bowlers, it would be Ishan Sharma and Siraj for me. And the only question is whether they play Kuldeep or Washington Sundar. I really don't know because Washington Sundar didn't have any role to play in the previous match. So, but this being a full-fledged regular test match, I think Kuldeep Yadav as a bowler is of a different caliber than Washington Sundar. So perhaps I would still play Kuldeep Yadav. If they don't play Kuldeep Yadav, then again, like Dom Bess, he has to think about his test match career.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just take a wicket, make a wicket comment and wind up before we wind up. What if we play Umesh Yadav as a batsman? So, just because the poor fellow has been sitting around doing nothing.
But Siraj is he has had 2 sixes, man.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. So Siraj wins on the number of sixes he has hit, I guess.
See, the problem is India has a problem with its batting unit. The second highest scorers in the series for India is Ashwin. First is Rohit Sharma. Number 2 is Ashwin. Third is Virat Kohli. So you have a problem with Shubman Gill. When I say problem, it's not just with this technique or approach. It's just that we don't have the numbers. See, Cheteshwar Pujara, Shubman Gill, and Ajinkya Rahane are due for big scores. All three are, their talent or their ability is not under question. It is just that they need to come up with the goods.
Yeah. So you're right. I think that is what it is. At the end of the day, the batting. I don't think unless there is an injury of some sort, you don't expect any change in the batting order. And the bowling, the spinners do play. 2 spinners play. The third spinner is which one is better is debatable, and which is why. So if you take away, like I said, if you take Washington Sundar out and put Kuldeep Yadav, then it's better that you have a Umesh Yadav who can bat or do something like batting. So why not?
No, why not? I don't know whether they are going to play 2 pace frontline pace bowlers. I don't know. They will.
So one number I remember reading somewhere is that in the entire test match, I think pace bowlers have bowled some 30-35 overs. That's all.
Exactly.
So,
but England, because spin bowlers, but I was also reading another numbers. This is purely from England batting perspective, except from the first innings of the first test, where they batted for around 190 odd overs. In the rest of their 5 innings put together, not put together, in each innings, they not even managed to, most of the innings they floundered under 50. Only on a couple of occasions, they have gone beyond 50 overs. They have never even touched 60 overs in any of the rest of the 5 innings, which is as you would see, those numbers don't make for good reading.
Yeah. So final question for you before we wind up today: how many days?
Raj, you're putting me in a spot.
No, because see, we saw the meme, right? Ravi Shastri said Ravi Shastri's meme, which he himself tweeted. So, is there any reason to change? Yeah, is there any reason to change his mind?
I would think. I'm just hazarding. Yes, it would go for 4 days.
Yeah. Let us hope. Yeah, let us hope.
I'll see. While the moaning about the pitch was right, was too much. But there's certain amount of complaint on the pitches also, because when a test lasts for only two days, purely from a I mean, the action was riveting, but purely from a spectator's point of view, they deserved much more.
Yeah, I guess the batsmen and the bowlers need to take the blame. Yeah, why
Because
do you take
we
so many wickets?
we started with Richards, but
I know.
remember in the Hirvani test when Hirvani took 16 wickets in this very first test, it was a tailor-made spin pitch in Chennai. But Richards didn't complain about the pitch, but he said one thing: "Come back to West Indies, we'll show you what kind of."
Yeah,
And they showed us.
yeah.
They
And then
showed us.
since anyway India is going to England now after in June,
But I don't
so
think Root is going to make that kind of a warning.
Root might not make the comment. No, if England is England,
And,
they need to do that. See, the point
and
is very simple. I mean, it's like they say, my house, my rules. So
absolutely,
unless of course, yeah, unless of course the ICC comes and says no, even your house, I draw the rules, which is okay, which is fine if you think that. But till such time, I think we'll only go with it. And one final thought about I don't know. I mean, see, one big thought I have is forget about the spectators. If these guys end up playing 2-day test matches, then we will have to look for an alternate career, man. I'm worried about that. We have nothing to say, man.
Raj, as if we are having a flourishing career.
I know.
Anyway, you're right. You're right about that. We need to come up with something else, but I think it's going to be 4-day test. But I also hope England comes up with something more, because if they don't, because they also kind of in those fleeting 2 days, they also kind of showed the wheels were kind of coming off this
Correct.
particular tour for them. So I think they need to come back. If India can come back from 36 in Australia, from the lows of 36 in Australia, I guess England can take a lot of heart from it and go from there. Because after this rout in Ahmedabad first test, they can't plumb any lower.
Correct. So I would put it this way: if they just need to show some heart and say that, okay, you know what, at least for the sake of people like you and me, we'll let us play for 4 days.
Yes.
So on that note, we'll wind up and we'll catch up with you after the first day's play.
Exactly.
So yeah, thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye, Raj.